Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to our session 21 of our Gita Amritam Rasamalayam, systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, where every week we are studying verse by verse from Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we have reached chapter 3, Karma Yoga. And today it's our indeed pleasure to have a guest speaker, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, who has taken time off to give us some time from his busy schedule. And it's early morning for him. So we welcome him on behalf of Gita Amritam Rasamalayam. And we request him to take verses from 3.18 to 3.24 today. And after that, the participants are free to share their realizations. Today, being a guest speaker, there will be no quiz questions. Okay, so we want to save some time on that. And instead, if anybody wants to share reflection, you're free to share at the end of the class. Okay, so we start now and we end at 8:15 max. Hare Krishna, over to you, Amarendra Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकये चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Could I have the co-host right so I can screen share?
You have to just send a request for screen share, and because in this host tools, there is no provision for co-host, I think. So you can just send a request for screen share and I'll approve it.
You just say share, Prabhuji, it will go as a request.
Okay, sure, I'll do that. For some reason it is not. That's fine, no problem. We can read, I thought of sharing some verses from Bhagavad-Gita.
So shall I share?
It may take some time because there are a series of verses.
Okay.
But that's fine. Devotees can always do it whenever they have time on their own. We start with chapter 3, text 18. So I'll read the first verse and then we will discuss forward. So the series is from text 18 to 24 of the third chapter entitled Karma Yoga. Let's read the 18th verse. नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिद् अर्थव्यपाश्रयः. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Purport. A self-realized man is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty save and except activities in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not inactivity either, as will be explained in the following verses. A Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation. So it is our honor and privilege to have this golden opportunity to study Bhagavad Gita. Every great acharya who appeared in this world, they based their teachings on the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, traditionally, there are three texts which are most important. And traditionally, an acharya was pronounced as a Jagat Guru or the Guru of the whole world when he writes commentary to three texts. The first is the Bhagavad Gita. The second is Vedanta Sutra, the 550 aphorisms of Bhagavan Vyasadeva. And the third are the Upanishads, the 108 Upanishads. For example, you see Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. He wrote commentary to all three. He wrote commentary to the Upanishads. He wrote commentary to the Vedanta Sutra, called as the Govinda Bhashya, and he also wrote his Gita Bhushan Tika to Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is most powerful and fundamental backbone wisdom text of the East. Any philosophical presentation that has to be revolutionary, that has to be thought-provoking, it cannot be complete unless there are references from the Bhagavad Gita. Even Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya, who is the stalwart Vedantist, Advaita Vedantist, he writes that Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dukta Gitamritam Mahat. Very beautifully and poetically using pun, he explains that Krishna is a cowherd boy in Vrindavan who is expert in milking cows. And he continues to, old habits die hard. So what you practice in your childhood is what you will do even when you're 96 years old. So Krishna's 96 on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Sri Adi Shankaracharya says, Sarva Upanishado Gavaha. All the Upanishads, they are cows. They are cow-like. And Krishna is the cowherd boy. So he's milking all the cow-like Upanishads and bringing the milk called as the Bhagavad Gita. Then the vegans will have a problem. They will say, you're talking about milk. But who has the authority over the milk? They will say only the calf has authority over the milk. And Krishna has included that also by first feeding the milk of the Bhagavad Gita to the calf called as Arjun. Partho Vatsaha. Sudhir Bhokta and Dukta Gitamritam Mahat. After milking all the cows called as the Upanishad and bringing the milk of the Bhagavad Gita, he first feeds that milk of the Bhagavad Gita to the calf called Arjun. And after Arjuna is completely satisfied, that milk has been distributed to the whole world in the form of Gita Amrita. So this is quite an apt title. Gita is the Amrita. And even great souls like Sri Madhvacharya and Sri Ramanujacharya, everyone has based their work heavily on the Bhagavad Gita. So in this section today, chapter 3, text 18, we will see an interesting analysis. Krishna is speaking about acting. In text 18, he talks about acting and at the same time not acting. Naiva tasya kritena arthaha. Na eva tasya kritena arthaha. Arthaha means purpose. And na eva tasya kritena. Kritena means activity. By acting in this world, because the section is that of Karma Yoga, Krishna is explaining a Karma Yogi, a person who wants to connect with God. He performs activities in this world, but na arthaha, not for personal agenda. He doesn't act with personal desires. And na akritena iha kaschana. And at the same time, he doesn't not act. So sometimes people think bhakti is the path or finding God is the path of laziness. Chodo garbar, chalo haridwar. Give up all your activities and sit in a cave. Krishna is not speaking in that line. Here you can see he says, na akrutena iha kaschana. One doesn't not act. And Krishna speaks about this again and again in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit. This verse will also come later. Krishna says that not for a moment can a living entity not act. One has to act constantly. Even if I'm sitting at the chair, I'm speaking. Even if, let's say, I'm not speaking and closing my eyes and sitting on the chair, my mind is active. I'm continuously doing something. We are all continuously doing something. So Krishna says the path of liberation is not in not acting and sitting quiet. And at the same time, it's not in acting for personal selfish agenda. Then how should it be? Nacha asya sarvabhuteshu kaschid artha vyapashrayah. One should act in such a way that is selfless and benefiting as welfare activity for the whole world. Paropakaraye phalanti vrikshaha, paropakararthaya vahanti natyah, paropakararthaya duhanti gava, paropakarartham idam shariram. We find even in this world the natural phenomena like the trees, the rivers, the cows, the moon, they're all so selfless. If you see the trees The mango tree gives mango fruits but never eats its own fruits itself. Think about it. We all know how mango fruit tastes like, but a mango tree himself doesn't know how its own fruit tastes like, because that's how selfless he is. He manufactures he manufactures mango fruits one after another on his branches and gives all of that away. Think about the cow. The cow has never tasted its own milk. Think about the Ganga or the Yamuna. They have never tasted their own waters. Think about the moon. The moon has spots on him, but he's still busy giving moonlight to the whole world. Think about the sun. The sun every morning without a winter break, without a summer break, without any festival holidays, without a weekend. For millions of years, the sun has been every morning at the right time, rising, distributing its light all over the world. And when it's time in the evening, he collects all his rays back and rises at another place, continuously working. So it's only man who thinks about doing things for himself, constantly thinking about what will I gain out of this. You can see again and again in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna inspires us not to have self centric ideas, not to be egoistic that I am the doer. Therefore, I need to squeeze some joy out of my activities. You can see Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 47, the very famous Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana verse. Of course, people many times misinterpret that verse. Sometimes you see in dramas, a police catches the thief, and the thief says, "Phal ki chinta mat karo, karm karte jao. My duty is only to steal and not worry whether the cop is catching me or no." But that's not the interpretation of the verse. The interpretation of the verse is fourfold. Each of those lines in chapter 2, text 47 teach us something. कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु kadachana na karma phala heturbhu. Krishna, one after another, he says, line 1, you have authority to act. Line 2, ma phaleshu kadachana, what you gain in return out of your activities is not in your control. It is daiva netrena. Whatever, depending on our past credit, our brahmalipi, lines on our forehead, our reactions from past life, we will get different activities and results. So line 1, do act selflessly, enthusiastically, as pure-hearted as possible. Line 2, don't be overjoyed with what you get, attached to it, and disappointed by something that we don't receive. 3, don't be lazy and not act. And 4, never think of yourself. These are things that Krishna talks about. And again, you can see, you can also refer chapter 14, text 23, or you can also refer chapter 8, text 39, where Krishna talks about the same theme. Act for others, ultimately act for Krishna's pleasure, and by that you will benefit the whole world. You can see the great example of the Akshaya Patra story, where Draupadi only thought of feeding that one grain of rice stuck onto the bottom of the pot to Krishna. And Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. By uh, offering that one grain to Krishna, what happened? You see, the whole world was satisfied. Durvasa Muni came with 60,000 disciples to have breakfast in the house of the Pandavas. And actually, the plan was breakfast, then it became lunch, and then it became dinner because Duryodhan delayed the whole process. He wanted to keep it in such a way that Durvasa Muni arrives at a point when the Akshaya Patra can't give any more food. Because the rule was once Draupadi finishes eating for the day and she cleans up the pot in the pages of the Mahabharata, then no more food will appear out of that. So Durvasa Muni was sent there in the evening by Duryodhan. And Durvasa came there with 60,000 disciples. And how do we feed all of them? One grain of rice was offered to Krishna, and now Durvasa and 60,000 disciples, they're chanting Gayatri in the water, and all of them were complaining of stomach pain, indigestion because of overeating. Yatha tarurmula nishechanena tripyanti tat skanda bhujopi shakha Pranopahara chayatendriyanam tathaiva sarvaranamachyutejya. By offering water to the roots of the tree, the whole tree is satisfied. By offering food to the belly, the whole body is nourished. Similarly, by serving Krishna, everything, all the whole world is satisfied. And this is why in this verse you see the word sarvabhuteshu. Sarvabhuteshu. Artha vyapashrayah. A great soul works only for doing good to everyone, and he does that primarily by doing all his activities only for the pleasure of Krishna, completely for the pleasure of Krishna. An example can be given in this regard, that if someone gets into a shopping mall and starts picking things from different aisle and starts putting it in his own shopping cart, go to a shopping mall and you start picking things from different aisle and put it in your shopping cart, and you want to leave and you don't pay for it, then the cops will catch, the security will catch, because if you take something from a mall, you're supposed to pay for it. You can't leave without paying for the things that you yourself picked. But if this person now shows a authorized letter from the owner of the mall that I empower and authorize so and so person to pick all of these things from these aisles in my own shopping mall, then that letter is enough. This person who has collected things from the shopping mall can now walk out free out of the mall without paying anything. So, this is the point. We are all like that man in the shopping mall of this world. Every single thing that we pick, every interaction that we have, every word that we speak, it all creates a reaction in the future. Like a boomerang, it's going to come to us. It's only time which is separating. If we want to have good future, we have to create a better present. What we do now is what creates the future. So we are like that man in the shopping mall of this world, and we are collecting different reactions from different aisle, and we have to pay for all of them. But the only way we can escape that is if we are doing activities on behalf of the owner of the mall, which is Krishna. So if we act for his pleasure, then we are free from all reactions. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. So this is the point that Krishna is making. Now we'll read the next verse, text 90. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma param apnoti purushah. Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. How amazing. So we can see that just like an actor on the stage, when there's an actor on the stage delivering different dialogues, the actor, let's say, for example, in real life, he is a painter, but on the stage, he's acting as a doctor. So he memorizes the script of all the medicines and the prescriptions and all the dialogues that as a doctor he's supposed to speak to his patient. He does all of that, does a great job. But then when he gets out of his stage, he's not a doctor anymore. He's a painter. He does it as a duty. He does it as a performance on the stage, but he doesn't identify himself as a doctor throughout the day. So similarly, we perform activities. We have to perform activities in this world. Now, this is quite interesting. Just like the person on the stage acts like a doctor and interacts with people on the stage. But why does he do that? Ultimately, for the pleasure of the audience, right? When somebody's acting on the stage, they don't show their back to the audience. Why? Because audience are the main focus for him. At the same time, if the audience can't hear, he's going to repeat the dialogue. Because the purpose is not just speaking to the person on the stage. By speaking to the other co-actors, he's ultimately entertaining the audience. This is how we should be. We are on the stage of this world, performing a certain role as a husband, as a wife, as a son, as a daughter, as a father, as a grandfather, as a brother, as a sister, as a marketing manager, all of our duties. We are like actors on the stage. We are like the doctor on the stage. And we are dealing with others in our life, ultimately for the pleasure of the audience. And who's the audience? Krishna. Krishna is the audience. So even if we are at the temple, or whether we are at work, or whether we are at home, one should be a devotee throughout because the constant audience is Krishna. It's not that in the temple the audience is Krishna, but at home the audience is someone else. No. All of our activities should be driven ultimately samsiddhir haritoshanam, to please Krishna. And therefore, kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmanava prakrite swabhavad karomi yadyat sakalam parasmi narayana yeti samarpayami. You will see throughout Shastra, the theme of mind, body, and words will come together for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. In this verse that we just chanted, it says, Kayena, through my body, manasa, through my mind, indriyair, through my senses, buddhi, through my intellect, atmana, through my very existence, my dear Lord, karomi yadyat, whatever I do, narayana yeti samarpayami. May I do that for your pleasure alone. So if we misbehave with somebody for our selfish agenda, that's not pleasing Krishna. So we have failed in our purpose. So every activity, even if it's shopping in the mall, we are getting some fruits, we are getting some vegetables. One way to think about it is I am getting all of this so that I can feed my family. So in that case, the audience is our family. Another way to shop is I am getting these fruits and vegetables because I like them. So who's the audience now? Myself. But the best way to do it, I will get the best fruits possible. I will get the best vegetables possible because in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami Pad has said to offer seasonal fruits to Krishna is bhakti. Vidurani, the wife of Vidura, was not even offering fruits. She offered the peel of a banana, and Krishna was so happy. Why was Krishna happy? Because she was doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. She was doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. Similarly, we can see Shabari. She was offering fruits to Ramachandra. And why is that bhakti? Because she was not offering it for her own pleasure. She was offering it because it will please Sri Ramachandra. This was the mood of Shabari. And we find the example even in Krishna Leela of the fruit vendor. She just offered fruits to Krishna. But the purpose was, may Krishna have a smile on his face. May Krishna be happy. This was the purpose in the life of the fruit vendor also. So therefore, tasmad asakta satatam. In the 19th verse, Krishna says, asakta. Sakta means attachment, and asakta means no attachment. Perform all your duties. This is the 19th verse. Perform all your duties without attachment, Krishna is saying. Without attachment. Without attachment means don't do it for yourself. Do it for Krishna. And satatam, always be in this mood. Always be in this mood. Tasmad, asakta satatam. Don't just think like that in the temple. Don't just think like that in the dham. Satatam, all the time. And karyam karma sam achara. Perform your activities nicely. Krishna doesn't say achara, he says sam achara, samyak. Samyak means completely, nicely, prakarshena, prakrishtena, meticulously, dutifully, orderly, perform all your activities in this world. But before you start the activity, pray to Krishna, perform a Mangalacharan. My dear Lord, even if it's a job, meeting, even if it's picking somebody on the way, you have to give a ride to someone, or even if it's shopping for vegetables and fruits that we spoke about, even if it is taking shower, whatever activity it may be, do it meticulously at the right time for the pleasure of Krishna. How can taking shower be bhakti? Well, somebody may take shower out of duty. Somebody may not take a shower at all. Somebody may take shower maybe late at night after all day of work. They only shower in the day. But somebody may wake up early in the morning and take their shower, brush their teeth, take shower, because that's how they become purified. They can approach the deities, they can sit and chant Hare Krishna. So even bathing, even brushing one's teeth can be linked to the Lord. And this is why you see many references again in the Bhagavad-Gita. You can see chapter 13, text 21. You can see chapter 18, text 47, 48. You can see chapter 6, text 22. Krishna will drill this point again and again and again, that desire nothing for yourself. Because karanena vina karyam na kadachana vidyate. Nobody performs an activity in this world without an intention. कभी ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि ये कार्य क्यों किया, पता नहीं क्यों किया ना। हम सबको पता होता है, हर एक कार्य हम जो करते हैं कुछ उद्देश्य होता है. देयर इज सम पर्पस बिहाइंड व्हाई वी डू व्हाट वी डू. एंड व्हाट इज दैट? Sukhaya, Dukkha Mokshaya. Bhagavatam says we act either for destroying our suffering. For example, if I'm feeling very cold, the body is feeling uncomfortable, so you put on a coat, you put on a jacket, right? You put on a shawl. So that's an activity. And why am I doing that? To keep away distress. So, twofold why we perform activities, either to keep distress away or to get joy out of it. And ultimately, even destroying distress is to get some comfort and joy. So, we are all anandamaya bhyasat. We are all performing activities एक ही कारण, only for one reason, आनंद की अनुभूति, to be happy. You see, scrolling through social media. Why? With the desire, maybe the next reel will give me joy. Maybe I will find something exciting. Talking to someone, I will be happy. Traveling somewhere, I will be happy. Eating pizza, I will be happy. Eating ice cream, I will be happy. Sleeping in a comfortable bed, I will be happy. For everything, we think about our own happiness, but we don't get it. Why? Because this verse and this section teaches us the more you think, the way this world works is the more you think about yourself and your joy, that's how far we are from getting that joy. हम स्वतः के इच्छा पूर्ति के लिए जितना प्रयास करते हैं उतना ही सुख की अनुभूति से हम दूर होते हैं. Because the selfish can never be happy. You have to become selfless. And the best way to become selfless is to act for the pleasure of the Lord who created us. Like, for example, think of someone who is a volunteer at a medical camp. Let's say there is a blood donation camp somewhere, or let's say there is an eye camp somewhere. The people are getting eye operated, or somebody is donating blood, or there's a medical camp going on somewhere. And imagine there are 30 volunteers in that camp. They're all working, cleaning up, washing, helping, guiding, making lines, collecting tickets, making sure that there's proper order. Somebody who's a volunteer all day long, let's say works at a blood donation camp or an eye camp, medical camp. At the end of the day, when that person goes to sleep, he doesn't hate any of those members, those patients, and he doesn't love any of them. He has no attachment. He did his duty as a volunteer for that blood donation camp, as samaj seva, as service to society. And because he was selflessly doing it for a master, which means a blood donation camp, when he goes off to sleep, he is neither grieving in pain, in hatred for some patient, nor is he erupting in joy out of attachment for someone. This is how we should be in this world. This world is like a medical camp where everybody is suffering. So we do good to others ultimately for the pleasure of God. मानव सेवा माधव सेवा नहीं है, पर माधव सेवा से मानव सेवा संभव है. Just by serving man, you don't serve God. But by serving God, ultimately, you see, when you pour a lot of water in a glass, it fills up to the top and then it starts overflowing. So Krishna is the cup. When you have devotion for him, you fill up to the brim, you serve God, then that spills out towards everyone who belongs to God. And who belongs to God? Everyone belongs to God. Whether we are God believers or atheists or man or animal, when you start serving God and the devotional water fills up to the brim, it overfloods and overflows to everyone around. So we can serve everyone by serving God. So every activity, Krishna is saying, asakto acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. One will attain the highest gain by acting in this manner. So feet on the ground, eyes in the sky. What does that mean? We stay in this world. Sthane sthita shruti gatam tanuvak manobi. Yep prayaso jita jito pyasitai strilokyam. One should stay in the social custom and the social tradition that we live in. And being in that circumstance, we perform every activity for the pleasure of Krishna. So before you start work, you remember God. And at the end of the day, you say, Krishna, aham harer tava padayika moolam dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuya manasmare tasu pater gunamte grinhi tava karma karotu kaya. Again, body, mind, and words. My dear Lord, through body, through mind, and words, whatever I have done, I offer it to you. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikhilasu aphi avasthasu jivan mukta sa uchyate. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Every activity through thought, word, and deed, offer it to Krishna. This is the path of being free from all attachment. We'll take the next verse now. Text 20. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादय लोकसंग्रहमेवापि संपश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. Srila Prabhupada's translation. Even kings like Janaka and others attain the perfectional stage by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Now it's interesting that Krishna is starting to present examples to make a point. Such a perfect teacher. He's saying, Karmana eva hi samsiddhim astita janakadaya. Great souls like Janaka. Now the word adaya or adi in Sanskrit can mean starting with, beginning with, or adi can mean etc. So definitely here the meaning is not beginning with, because even before Janak Maharaj, Sita Devi's father, there were great souls like Vivaswan and Manu. So the origin or the founder of selflessly serving mankind, it didn't start with Janaka. It started with great kings even before Janaka. Maybe we can take the screen share off. We can have it only when the verse is being discussed. So yeah, thank you. So here the meaning is not beginning with, but here the meaning is etc. So great souls like Janaka Adaya, great souls like Janaka, what did they do being in Grihasthashram? Now this is interesting. Sometimes we complain, हम तो गृहस्थ हैं, हम तो बद्ध हैं, हम तो व्यस्त हैं, we are busy, we have kids, we have job, we have to travel, we have relatives, we have so many duties. Therefore, thinking of that argument that we may give, Krishna is using the example of Janak Maharaj. Because Janak Maharaj was a grihastha. And being a grihastha, being a householder, he managed to perform bhakti so wonderfully. It is described that the focus that Janak Maharaj had on the Supreme Lord Sri Hari was like in our conventional example. You can see that there are women in the villages who collect pots and pots of water from, let's say, the river or the Jamuna. They carry pots of water on their head, and one pot over another, over another, over another, over another, sometimes even 7 pots, one over the other. And that Mataji is walking. She's not holding, she's balancing all those pots. And she's walking and she's moving her head also and talking to other Matajis also. And she walks from the river up to her home with that weight, and not one drop of water falls. What does this mean? This is the focus of great souls like Janak Maharaj. Karmana eva hi samsiddhim astita janakadaya. By acting in this way, the pots of water here represent Krishna Bhakti. A great soul is expected to do activities in this world, like talking to others and walking from one place to another, doing your duties, but not one drop falls, which means even when they are traveling, they're remembering Krishna. The pot of water here represents Krishna Bhakti, and talking and walking represents duties of this world. Even when we are traveling, we are in the car, you can put on a class. Or if you're talking to other devotees in the car, as you're driving, in the middle, you say Krishna. We don't have to loudly say, if let's say you have relatives in the car, you cannot keep saying Krishna, Krishna all the time. But in your mouth, without moving your lips, just in your mouth, the tongue is moving. And you can chant the name of Krishna as you're driving. Or if you're in your room, keep kirtan going on. So as you're doing your duties also, you're cleaning up the room. Let's say to clean up the room, you don't need much intelligence or focus. You know where the cloth is, you know what you have to do. So put on a kirtan and you're hearing the kirtan and you're cleaning. So that activity that you're supposed to do becomes spiritualized because your focus is still, as you're doing meticulously, your focus is still on the holy name. So in this way, हाथ में काम और मुख में नाम. One can act through their hand and chant through their mouth. And this is how Asita Janakadaya, Janak Maharaj had this focus. Even now you can see many times little small girls in the villages, they are doing tightrope walking. Have you seen? They're having, first of all, they will walk on the tightrope and others are clapping. Then, next level, they will take like a stick in their hand or a rod in their hand, and then now they are balancing. Sometimes the weight is a little too much here, so they balance on this side. And in this way, constant balancing act. And then they make it even more difficult. Now they're carrying a pot also on their head with water, and now they're walking on a tightrope. How is this possible? Practice. Similarly, in all activities, Krishna is teaching here that whatever activities you're doing, do it with the mind absorbed at the lotus feet of Sri Hari. And by doing this, there are multifold benefit. It is not just benefit for ourselves, there's benefit even for mankind. How is that happening? Benefit for mankind happens because when someone sets a proper example, others are watching. Others are watching. So if somebody is a bad example, then he teaches bad precept. But if someone is a good example, then like a rip current, like ripples, it touches all ends of the pond. People around us get influenced. One rotten apple can spoil the whole basket. But on the other hand, one fragrant flower can make the whole forest fragrant. And this is why Krishna now speaks the next verse, text 21, where he says, when we act in such a way, like Janak Maharaj, it becomes example for the next generation or people in the same generation. So in 21, Krishna will make a brilliant point, which is a very famous verse. Krishna says, Yadyat ajarati sreshthas tattat evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Srila Prabhupada's translation, whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Now, this is very interesting, very, very interesting. If you see this section, Krishna says, Yed acharati sreshthas tat evetaro jana. Sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. So it is good to speak about good things and give praman, but it is even higher to follow that ourselves. Preaching is a continuous activity, and sometimes we have to open our mouth, which means most of the time the preaching is done through actions. Imagine if there is somebody who is very down to earth, very humble, never takes credit, always acknowledges and passes the credit to others. This person will inspire people around on humility more than a person who speaks 60 days on a seminar on cultivating humility. But in his life, if he's not humble, it's not going to inspire. Actions speak louder than words. I remember one time in one city that I was visiting, I was asking devotees, how did you become a devotee? How did you become a devotee? Prabhu, how did you become a devotee? And I saw 5 or 6 devotees. They said, Prabhu, I was not a devotee, but I had a colleague in my company. And he was so nice. One day I asked him, भैया आप क्या करते हो कि आप इतने उत्कृष्ट काम करते हो? You are working so well, you have such nice mindset, you are ethical, you are punctual, you are accountable, you get the job done, you don't meet deadlines, you beat deadlines. 5 or 6 of them told me, in my company there was one person. So then that evening, I met with all of them and said, were you all working in the same company? They all looked at me and said, yes. They said, we were all working in the same company and there was one devotee there. And he was not preaching about bhakti, but he was living by those principles. He would come before us. If work starts at 8 o'clock, 7:45, he was there. He was never late. He would get everything done. The boss always had good things to say about him. He was leading the team so nicely. He would never shout at anyone. Even if he's stressed, he would make sure that he dismantles it quickly. And then I met with the devotee who was the preacher. And then he said, Prabhu, I never preach to anybody. It is all their kindness. So I realized that he, without preaching with his mouth, he was preaching through actions. And that's the same point Krishna is saying here. If you see the second line, Sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. So yat and tat has been used once as far as speaking through words are concerned. But in the first line, preaching through action has been given, and there not yat and tat. There yat yat, tat tat. You can see the effect has become double. In the second line, it is pramanam. When you speak and give evidence to someone, it inspires. So yat and tat. But then in the first line, when you live it yourself, acharati, then it is yat yat and tat tat. Yat yat acharati sreshta tat tat evetarojana, which means your actions will have twice the effect of your speaking. Of course, if someone acts and preaches, then it is amazing. Achara prachara namer koro dui karya. Tumi sarva guru, tumi jagatera arya. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Sanatan Goswami Pad glorifies Namacharya Haridas Thakur that there are some who talk about chanting but they don't chant, and some chant but they don't talk about chanting. And you are the great Acharya who chants and inspires others to chant. So it's very important to be an example ourselves. If we are a bad example, now what do you mean by bad example? Always thinking of oneself. इसमें मुझे क्या मिलेगा? In America, there's a saying, what's in it for me? This is how people are taught to think. What's in it for me? What will I get out of this? Now, what is the problem in being selfish? There is a problem. The problem is what you feed is what gets stronger. What you feed is what gets stronger. So, for example, if I feed selfishness, then what gets stronger is selfishness. The desire gets stronger. When it gets fulfilled, I become greedy for more. When it doesn't get fulfilled, then I become angry. If it gets fulfilled and somebody else also gets it fulfilled, then I'm envious of that person. And if I don't get it, and someone else gets it, then I am jealous of that person. If I get it and someone else doesn't get it, then I am proud of what I have received. You see, all of these anarthas will come just with one thing, and that is thinking of oneself. And whoever fulfills my desire, I get attached to that person. And whoever stops my desire, I hate that person. So naturally, the heart is mixed with the waves of raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred, aversion. And all of this pollutes the heart. But on the other hand, if you're selfless, I will work very hard for the pleasure of Krishna. And whatever I get, I know it's my karma. There's a saying, work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on him. We have to do both. We have to chant Hare Krishna and serve God, but at the same time, meticulously work in all our duties. Therefore, samacharat, samacharan. Krishna says, do your activities perfectly, nicely. So we do everything, but then we know we can't get beyond what is our past life karma. So we act, and whatever fruits God gives us, we are happy with that. We want to work for His pleasure, but not compete with anyone, but compete with ourselves. Not criticize others, but criticize our mentality to criticize, and purify our heart by offering everything to God. Then in 22, 23, and 24, in this final section of this discussion, Krishna brings in an interesting twist to the story. After giving examples of Janak Maharaj, now Krishna gives his own example, because Krishna is teaching us that what to speak of kings of this world. O Arjun, I am Bhagavan. I come in this world and I don't have to do any activities in this world. I have no karma. I have no desires in this world, but I still act to set proper example to mankind. So we'll read translation, verse and translation for 22, 23, and 24, and then we will have some discussion. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानावप् नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Yadi hyaham na varteyam jatu karmanyatendritah mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. For if I did not engage in work, O Parth, certainly all men would follow my path. Utsideyur ime loka na kuryam karma chet aham sankarasya na kartasyam upahanyam ima praja. If I should cease to work, then all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. How amazing. Krishna is now speaking about his own example, and he's trying to inspire us that in this world, Krishna has nothing to perform. न तस्य कार्यम करणम च विद्यते न तत्सम अधिकश्च दृश्यते परस्य शक्तिर विविधैव श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञान बल क्रिया च. The Upanishads describe न तस्य कार्यम करणम च विद्यते. We have activities to perform in this world, right? We have to study, we have to work, we have to take care of protect the family, take care of them, pay the bills. We have so many duties. But God has no duty in this world. Why does he come in this world? परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Krishna says, I come to protect the devotees. And when do I come? I come when dharma reduces, dharmasya glanihi bhavati, and when adharma increases. Abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrajamyaham. I come when dharma reduces, adharma increases. And why do I come? To protect the devotees and destroy the demons. So I don't have to act. Material nature, Prakriti, she can create tsunami, she can create earthquake, she can create hurricane, and all the demons will be destroyed. And sadhus, they're anyway protected by my name. Prahlad Maharaj was protected throughout. Prahlad Maharaj was not protected by Narasimhadev. When he was tossed into fire and thrown from the top of the cliff, the name of the Lord protected him. So sadhus are anyway protected. And those who are asuras, they can be destroyed by nature. And dharma samsthapanarthaya, spreading dharma, acharyas can do it themselves. So Krishna doesn't have to come. But he comes and performs all his duties. He went to a Gurukul. Think about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. He daily took Ganga Snan. He studied under Gangadas Pandit. He was chastised by Jagannath Mishra and Shachimata in the childhood. At the same time, he entered Grihastha Ashrama. He did Kirtan. He later even took sannyas. He went on Tirtha Paryatan, walked on his lotus feet everywhere. He went to Jagannath Puri, went to South India, went to Vrindavan. He met with great personalities like Ramananda Rai, Gadadhar Pandit, Haridas Thakur. Mahaprabhu did Kirtan day and night. No need. But Krishna's coming in this world and doing duties to set example to others, to teach. So therefore we have twofold responsibility. One, to purify our heart. Doing all our activities for the pleasure of Krishna purifies our heart. And by setting that example, others will also follow suit. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. If you see in 22, Krishna doesn't say, I have nothing to do in one world. He says trishu lokeshu. तीनों दुनिया में ऊपर मध्य और नीचे 7 lower hellish planets, 7 higher heavenly planets. So hellish planets, heavenly planets, Mother Earth. Krishna doesn't have to perform any activity. If he doesn't come in this world, no Devata will bind him by ropes of karma. No. In fact, he is the one who binds everyone by ropes of karma. It is Krishna. Sri Goswami Tulsidas ji has said in one place that जिन बांधे सुर असुर नाग नर प्रबल करम की दोरी सोए अविछिन्न ब्रह्म जशोमती हट बांध्यो सकत न छोड़ी. That Krishna who binds everyone by ropes of karma, his mother Yashoda bound him with ropes of love. So, na anavaptam, avaptavyam. There is nothing to be done and there is nothing to be attained for God, but he still comes and performs his duties. Why? Ye yatham mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushah partha sarvasha. You can refer to Bhagavad-Gita 4:11 where Krishna says, Mama vartmanu vartante manusha partha sarvasha. People follow my path. So I am supposed to lead by proper example. And this is why Krishna comes in this world and such a brilliant example that he sets. Krishna in Krishna Leela was charitable. Krishna in Krishna Leela was the best son, carrying the footwear of his father Nanda Baba on his head. Krishna was the best friend to Sudama. Krishna was the best teacher to Arjun. Krishna was the best chariot driver, the servant of his servant. Krishna was not just the servant of Arjun, Krishna was the servant of the horses who were carrying the chariot of Arjun. In the middle of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the horses became so tired and they sat down. And it is described, Krishna massaged the feet of all the 4 feet of each of those 5 or 7 horses that Arjuna had in his chariot. Krishna personally massaged the feet of all the horses in the middle of the battle. And with his palms, he was feeding water to all those horses. And after the horses felt relaxed and rejuvenated, drank water and massaged, now they were running faster than the mind. Why was Krishna doing this? To set example, to teach everyone. Be a friend like I am to Sudama. Be a teacher like I am to Arjuna. Be a son like I am to Nanda Maharaj. And be a servant of the servant like I am serving the horses. So many wonderful examples. Krishna was a perfect disciple. For Sandipani Muni who lost his son, Krishna was ready to go to the planet of Varuna Devata, the lord of the water. He went there to Varuna. Varuna said, I don't have the child. The child is in Yamalok. So Krishna went up to Yamalok. He went to Yamaraj and got the dead son of Sandipani Muni back. So Krishna was also the best disciple. He was also the best student. Krishna was the best husband. He maintained 16,108 queens, all of them with golden palaces each, and 10 sons and 1 daughter. How amazing. Best lover, best husband, best friend, best teacher, best son. Krishna is the best of everything. And he is coming and displaying all these pastimes in this world to teach all of us this lesson. That ultimately, don't aspire anything and don't work for yourself. Krishna has no responsibilities in this world and he has nothing to attain. ऐसा क्या है जो प्रभु के पास नहीं है जिसकी प्राप्ति के लिए वो उन्हें यहां आना पड़ता है. हम तो हर कार्य करते हैं किसी अपूर्ति के पूर्ति के लिए. To get something that we don't have, we act. But God has everything. Nobody is going to bind him in ropes of duties, but he still comes in this world to set proper example. So today's discussion ends here with the final note that act selflessly and teach compassionately. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaurav
Jai.
Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear Amarendra Prabhu, for giving us a good overview of what this particular passage of 3.18 to 3.24 is all about. And the essence, if you have to carry, It's we have to follow the best of the best. I mean, we always try to aspire to become the best, but the best of the best is our real uh, aim to go at and to follow. And so many examples you gave of the best, where Krishna, during his Leela, has performed. What really strikes is we don't have time to attend. I mean, many of us don't even attend the sessions of Bhagavad Gita and hear Krishna had time in the battlefield to massage the feet of the horse. You know, so this is what actually top leadership is all about, and uh, how to do this Nishkama Karma Yoga through this right example that Krishna has said. You have beautifully explained. Now I open this to the audience for either sharing their realizations or maybe a quick question or so, one or two. But what is more important is share. Feel free to share your takings from today's session. Yes, I see Saptadeep has already raised his hand, while others can mentally prepare to ask questions. And after that, Abhijit. Yes,
Hare
Saptadeep, go ahead.
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Amarendra Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam. Dhanavad Pranam to each and everyone. One or two key reflection is whatever we do, as Prabhu has said, we should do it in a selfless, unconditional, out of selfless, unconditional love for Krishna. In that way, whatever we do will be perfect. And we should never think about ourselves for doing it for our pleasure or anything, or for the family, because ultimately, as Prabhu said, whenever we do it for Krishna, then everyone is pleased, because Krishna is in everyone's heart. So that is one of the key, very key thing. And another, at last, in the last verses, Krishna said he is coming, he himself is coming and doing all the prescribed duties. So what stops us? He being the supreme lord of everyone, he is doing everything perfectly. So we should follow him, as you rightly said, Prabhuji. We should follow the best of the best. And one or two thing I want to share regarding this. In Braja, in Vrindavan, there is a staunch devotee of Srimati Radharani, that is Kishori Das Babaji. So he used to say that ये जो मार्ग है भक्ति का, ये सरल लोगों के लिए सरल है, और जो जटिल है जटिल लोगों के लिए जटिल. For those who are simple minded, or with selfless unconditional love for Srimati Radharani and Krishna, it's simple. And for if we keep all these things, means false ego and selfishness and enviousness, then it will become complex. So that is another thing we should take note. And also, His Holiness Sipad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj says that ये भक्ति ये आनंद का मार्ग है. It is a path of joy and blissfulness. So it is not some tapasya. We should not look it in a hard way as a tapasya. Yes, of course, Srila Prabhupada says we should accept some sort of tapasya, like performing ekadasis and other things. But we should also look it as a very simple and blissful path. So that's what I took note of Srila Swami Maharaj. And yeah, these are the things. And also, Amarendra Prabhu said that we should offer that seasonal fruits and everything that Prabhu mentioned. So my little question is, I knew the favorite fruit of as from Mukunda Datta Swami Maharaj. Mukunda Maharaj said in a podcast, I heard it, that the favorite fruit of Krishna is chiku, and custard apple, that is Sitafal, is of Srimati Radharani. Lord Balaram's, it is Jamun. And for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is banana. I don't know what is the favorite food of Nityananda Prabhu. If someone can share. That's it. Thank you.
I don't know. I really don't know what is the favorite food for Nityananda Prabhu. I don't know. But thank you for your reflections. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Saptadeep. I've also heard that the favorite fruit of Radharani, Srimati Radharani, is plum. I've not heard of, you mentioned Sitafal for Srimati Radharani?
Yeah, custard apple. Yeah, I heard.
Sitafal. Okay, I have heard as plum. Anyway, maybe both are right.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Hare
thanks
Krishna.
a lot for sharing your realizations also. Now we go to next Abhijit. Yes, Abhijit, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Amarendra Prabhu is the first devotee I started hearing after our Srila Prabhupada back when Krishna blessed me with bhakti in 2023. So Amarendra Prabhu is very special human soul to me. So deep gratitude to Prabhu.
Hare
What
Krishna.
I wanna take home today is that we can always remember Krishna while doing our duties as an offering to him, because at the end we're all doing it for him. So saying this would come as easy than doing it, but I want to lead by example now. So as a student, I must do my studies for Krishna rather than for job or money. And thank you so much, Prabhu, for all the wonderful examples. That is very inspiring. And also, I'll remember that Haath mein Kaam and Mukh mein Naam as a great way to remember Krishna. So thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhijit Prabhu. And just a small announcement before we go to Sheetal Mataji. Whoever is attending for the first time today in our Gita Amritam Rasamalayam session are requested to send their names, and if they're interested, they can attend the future sessions also. We would like to add them in the group. There's a group that is formed. I see some new names are there. Like I have not seen Sheetal Mataji before. So you can send it in my personal mobile number 9870184990. That's 9870184990. And we will add you in the group, and then you can also attend the subsequent sessions also. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Shubham Prabhu. So over to you, Sheetal.
Sheetal Mataji, would you be able to unmute? Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Do you have a question? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Yes, next we have our Krishna Mohan Prabhu. Yes, Krishna Mohan Prabhu, go ahead.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्य प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा, हिस कृष्ण अमरेंद्र जी, आपके चरणों में कोटि कोटि प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, आज के जो हमने की लर्निंग आपसे ली है, सॉरी आई मे स्पीक इन हिंदी प्रभु जी, प्लीज योर
हाँ जी, हाँ
परमिशन।
जी, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, हमें भी अधिक हिंदी में आनंद आता है, बिल्कुल।
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, दो की लर्निंग ली है। एक तो सेल्फलेसली वाला कि हमारे अंदर ये पॉइंट नहीं होना चाहिए कि अहम भाव नहीं होना चाहिए कि हम स्वार्थी रहे अपने काम में, जिससे हम जीवन के अंदर ये हम यदि भाव रखते हैं तो ऑटोमेटिकली जितने अनर्थास हैं वो ऑटोमेटिकली अंदर आते हैं, जैसे
बिल्कुल।
आपने एग्जांपल में बताया है ना प्रभु जी। एक ये बहुत अच्छा है। और दूसरा प्रभु जी, आपने ये बताया हम अपने आचार से अपने फैमिली में प्रीच करते हैं, वर्ड्स से ज्यादा हम अपने एक्शन से प्रीच करते हैं सबको। ये आज मेरे को बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट आज पॉइंट लगा। हालांकि मैंने सुना था ये पहले भी, बट आपके मुख से आज सुना तो बहुत ही अंदर ये, जैसे आपने एग्जांपल दिया कि एक ऑफिस में जो वो थे जिन्होंने अपने by their actions they preach the devotees, they make the devotees, so it's very key learning for
अभी तो वो 5 भक्त दीक्षित हैं, उनके घर में विग्रह हैं और सब भागवत पढ़ते हैं। और इस सब का प्रारंभ हुआ वो एक भक्त से जिन्होंने कृष्ण के विषय में कुछ नहीं कहा, केवल। और ऐसा भी नहीं कि तिलक धारण करके, शिखा धारण करके मंदिर कार्यालय आते थे ना, सबकी तरह रहते थे, परंतु जैसे वो कार्य करते थे बड़ी प्रेरणा लोगों को मिलती थी। तो केवल उनके आचरण और प्रेरणा प्रदायक कार्यों से उन्होंने सबका मन प्रभु के चरणों में आकृष्ट किया।
थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु। हमेशा यही लगता था कि प्रीचिंग जैसे अब मतलब लोग व्यासासन में बैठ के जो प्रीच करते हैं हम उसी को हम प्रीचिंग समझते थे, पर आज आपने इतना अच्छा एग्जांपल सेट किया है कि हम अपने व्यवहार से भी लोगों को डिवोटी भक्त बना सकते हैं। प्रभु जी थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी। और प्रभु जी एक छोटा सा प्रश्न है मेरा, प्लीज कर सकता हूँ प्रभु जी? प्रश्न ये है प्रभु जी कि आज के कंटेक्स्ट से नहीं है, बट थोड़ा सा ये है कि जैसे प्रभु जी चीजें लाइफ के अंदर अच्छी चल रही होती है, गुड चल रही होती है, सारी सर्कमस्टांसेस अच्छी रहती हैं, तो हम अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस भी हो रही होती है, सारी चीज भी चल रही होती है। कई बार जब लाइफ में टफ सिचुएशन आ जाती है, चाहे किसी का फैमिली में हेल्थ कोई इशू चैलेंज आ गया ऑल ऑफ सडन सीरियस या कुछ भी हो गया, या फाइनेंशियल कुछ भी चैलेंज आ जाता है, उस टाइम फिर हम चीजों को अपने आप मतलब हैंडल करने की कोशिश करते हैं बाई जो एक सरेंडरनेस वाला भाव होता है भगवान के ऊपर। वो उस टाइम थोड़ा सा वीक पॉइंट आ जाता है माइंड के अंदर, और अपने आप को प्रॉब्लम्स में सॉल्व करने की कोशिश उसमें लग जाते हैं प्रभु जी। ये मेरे साथ होता है प्रभु जी जनरली। तो प्रभु जी इसमें थोड़ा सा मतलब उस कंडीशंस के अंदर मैं कैसे अपने आप को थोड़ा सा स्ट्रांग, मतलब वही जो भाव हमारा पहले उसको कैसे प्रभु जी कर पाए, तो जिससे।
देखिए, इसकी तैयारी पहले होती है। जैसे कोई यदि रणभूमि में उतरकर फिर गन बंदूक कैसे चलाना सीखे तो बात बनेगी नहीं, तब तक परास्त हो जाएगा। तो इसलिए इसकी तैयारी जो है तब करनी चाहिए प्रतिदिन, जब कोई आक्रमण हुआ नहीं, कोई युद्ध घोषित हुआ नहीं, उसके पहले से तैयारी शुरू होनी चाहिए। कई बार समंदर में लहरें विपरीत होती है तो व्यक्ति तैर नहीं पाता, परंतु जब सब तरंग अनुकूल हो तब अधिक तैरें। जब दुख ना हो जीवन में अधिक भजन करें, ताकि उसके फलस्वरूप जब दुख की अनुभूति हो तब उसी पहले किए गए भजन के एक प्रवाह से व्यक्ति पार हो जाए। परंतु
जी जी जी।
तब दुख में यदि प्रयास करने का, एक भक्ति के सभी तत्वों को जीवन में आचरण करने का तब प्रयास करे तो विफल रहेगा। अगर परीक्षा के दिन ग्रंथ को लेकर बैठा जाए, पुस्तक को लेकर बैठा जाए, व्यक्ति तो नापास होगा।
जी जी
इसकी
जी जी जी
तैयारी तब होनी चाहिए जब परीक्षा की घोषणा भी ना हो, प्रतिदिन।
जी
वही
जी
अव्वल प्राप्त कर सकता है, वरना बाकी सब तो विफल
जी
हो
जी
जाएंगे। तो
जी
यही
जी।
रहेगा।
थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी, कोटि कोटि प्रणाम प्रभु जी आपके
हरे
चरणों में।
कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you very much,
एक और
Krishna.
प्रश्न लेते हैं। हाँ।
Yeah, last question. That is Vishal Shrikant Prabhu. Either a question or a reflection. Anything is okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just a small question, Prabhu. We hear repeatedly that we have to be selfless and we act for the pleasure of Krishna. But practically speaking, every day, like we do try. I mean, theoretically, yes, I will say to myself that this is for Krishna. But naturally, it does not really come that I'm doing it for Krishna. Few things, basically, like chanting also. I do it for my clearing my anarthas, this, that. But when does it naturally come that I do it for the pleasure of Krishna every activity? Will it come at some point of? Uh,
Well, we have to see, even when you're in a business, you have to see what will give you maximum gain, right? If you invest somewhere, you have to see in so many years how much money will I make. So imagine if you're investing 1 lakh rupees somewhere, and after 25 years, it is going to become 1 lakh 100 rupees. So you just made 100 rupees over 25 years. That's not a good proposal. On the other hand, after 25 years, if let's say if this 1 lakh is going to become 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, then you may think, okay, let me think about it, right? So even in business, you have to think about what will give you the best return. Chanting Hare Krishna will always give you good return. But if you're doing that so that I want a better birth next life, it gives you okay results because that's your sankalpa. Even higher results out of that chanting will come if you think that may my heart become cleansed. But even higher results than that, for that same chanting, you will get just for pleasing Krishna. Nimai Pandit used to weep as a child. Baby Nimai used to weep. And the only way he could be pacified is by chanting Hare Krishna. So if you think, I am chanting so that my Nimai stops to cry. So every round that you're chanting now, you're starting to make more and more gain out of that same investment. Anyway, we have to chant. Anyway, we have to read. But if you think I'm doing this for the pleasure of Krishna, you gain more results. So even if you want to be selfish, nate vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. The best way to be selfish, think about yourself, is do it for Krishna and be selfless, because in that you will gain more. It is described by Prahlad Maharaj that when you decorate your face, your reflection in the mirror is automatically decorated. So similarly, when you please Krishna, you yen labdva anandi bhavati. By pleasing whom we become pleased. Yayatma su prasidati. By pleasing whom the heart becomes happy. So if you want to clear off the heart of anarthas and become ecstatically happy, then please Krishna. Because when the face is decorated, the reflection, that is us, we'll also become happy ultimately. So we have to read Shastra and pray and understand that my gain is in this. So even if I want my own gain, that also comes in pleasing Krishna. Otherwise, ami bidnya e murkhe bishay kena dibo, nije charnamrita diye bishay bhulaiba. Ama bhoje bishay mage ei bodo murkh. Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would say, going to a king and begging for 1 palmful of ashes from a crematorium. That's not very wise. So going to Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna and asking for material things is like going to the king and asking for 1 palmful of ashes from a crematorium. Instead, if the king is ready to give himself, Atmanam api yachati, it is described that Tulasi dalamatrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. When we offer tulsi and Ganga water with devotion to Krishna, Krishna is Bhaktavatsal. He is ready to sell himself to the devotee. He is ready to give himself. So the king is ready to give himself to us with all his property. And we are saying, I am happy with 1 palmful of dead man ashes from the crematorium. So we don't even know what to ask. हम जानते नहीं कि प्रभु से क्या पूछा जाए. ऐसी हमारी अवस्था है. So best thing to do is, my dear Lord, even begging for cleaning my heart, yes, may it happen as a byproduct of my attempt to please you. Because even if you beg for, I want to clean my heart, it is still I. I want it. Now tomorrow if Krishna resigns from his post and somebody else becomes God, hypothetically, then we will perform bhajan of that person, because by that my heart will be cleansed. So it's no longer Krishna conscious. But may that time come, my dear Lord, yatha tathava bidadhatu lampato mat prananatastu sa evanapara. And that will come by reading every day, hearing every day, chanting, praying, and contemplating moment to moment. It doesn't come in one day. Therefore, dhairyat, patience. Utsaha is nice for sadhan. Nishchay is nice, confidence for the result. And between your sadhana and the result, dhairya, there must be patience. So all of this put together in a few years, sometimes a few lifetimes, depending on the intensity of the sadhaka, it touches the heart. Okay? So we'll pause now. Thank you everyone. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I am very happy to serve this Gitamritam Rasamalayam, and I am not a regular speaker here. This is my first time, and there are many other speakers. So I'm very happy and very glad to be here. Thank you.
On
Thank you
behalf
very much.
of Gitamritam Rasamalayam, we would like to thank you for speaking today, and we would definitely welcome you for more number of times as per your convenience. And
Hare Krishna.
and we'll stop now here, and we are happy to announce that we are ending on time. So if anybody wants to say a big Hari Bol, you have a chance to unmute and say Hari Bol.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, एक बार पर्व बैठा, एक बार प्रभु जी को प्रणाम करना
Hare
चाहता
Krishna,
हूँ।
Dandavat Pranam.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम
Dandavat Pranam, Hare
हरि
Krishna.
बोल
Krishna Prabhuji, Ananta Koturi Tamat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Hari
हरे कृष्ण
Hare
प्रभु जी।